Hello, this is James Cox with the Martial Arts Podcast, and we are here with another exciting, awesome, amazing interview. I have a special guest with me. This is Professor Claude Lawson, kind of better known as Claudio. You know, we have an award that we hand out at our banquets. I have one that I'll be handing out tomorrow to a very special person that's earned and deserved this award, and we call it the Claudio Award. So I wanted to start this award while you were alive to kind of witness it, and that says a lot about you, and even this interview is that there's an award named after you, bro.
That's awesome.
But Claude Lawson here is one of my best friends. He's one of my early students. We were talking earlier, maybe 21, 22. Now he's older than me. 2 months is 2 months. He's still the senior, so he's still older than me. You'll be on Medicaid before I will. So.
2 months prior.
Anyway, so Claude, I'll let him tell you all his story and stuff, but I know he had already had different martial arts experiences, but being military brat, right, you moved around a lot. You used to joke with me like you had like 6 orange belts or something, right?
Yeah.
Because you didn't stay in a place long enough to advance much farther, and then you would move and go somewhere else. And then luckily you were here at Dyess Air Force Base, and I appreciate your service, sir. And then you've retired from the Air Force and continued a lot of other things there with your martial arts and your job. And Claude's a good man, and I appreciate you, and I commend you for everything that you've done, you know, for yourself and for the connection with me and our students and the growth and the success. So where I am has a lot to do with you. You know, my early black belts are quite different from, you know, some of the black belts today. And I know everyone says that as things change and evolve, but everything changes, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, the only thing that doesn't change is change, right? So you're like number 5 or 6 or something like that, right?
Number 6.
Yeah. And you're the 6th black belt that I ever promoted.
Man, I trained with the other 5, though.
Yeah. And those 5 before you, man, what a crew, right?
They were amazing. You put together a serious group of martial artists that were just amazing.
Yeah, and I didn't know a lot about things, you know, when you're that young. I knew to teach basically how I was taught, and it was hard training, you know. We've gotten a little bit smarter with the training now, although we still train hard with a variety. But yeah, so let's have a good talk, my man. If you want to kind of introduce yourself, tell us something about your journey here.
Oh, my goodness. Starting from the beginning.
Very beginning.
All right, so 1975, I was 5 years old. That's when I first started martial arts. My dad was a black belt in Shotokan, I believe, and every 2 to 3 years, when he moved, because he was also military, I got a new art. So, oh gosh, 20 years in his career, I think I had trained in about 12, 13 different arts.
Wow.
So by the time I became an adult and came here, I added a few more to myself from the time I went to college, and did okay in college, not well, but I decided to come in the military, get my life together. And I met you actually.
All places to wind up in little old
Abilene,
Texas.
Right? And I was coming from San Antonio, actually. And I saw a Taekwondo school. I won't mention the Taekwondo school. And I was going to go there, and then I had a chance with my older brother was stationed here also. And he said, next door, there's a guy, we went to one of his friends' house. There's a guy next door that teaches Kajukembo. And that was in 1990 or 91. I would have been the first black belt if I had joined at that time, by the way. Yeah. But we wound up talking for a little while, but for the next year and a half, I couldn't find the school. And I was still very new to Abilene. And when I finally found him, I came in, and I think I watched for about 3 months. And I learned everything. I compartmentalized everything, and I put everything in order, and I learned everything from white to purple belt by watching and going home and training.
Yeah, you were one of those guys. I can't do that, man. We call it a sponge. Just watch some self-defense drills, watch a complete kata form, and
take it
somehow
home.
Learn it. I don't know.
Anything that happened physical or something like that. It's also from all the martial arts. I trained in Taekwondo, Tang Sudo, Ishinru, Shorinru. I trained some Krav Maga when I got to California. I did combat sambo, Wing Chun, Jeet Kune Do. You name an art, I've probably trained in it or dabbled in it for a while, a year or so. So with all that, I mean, watching you two, you and your original instructor, Grand Master McDaniel, do some breaking on a video that I watched, and I joined the next day after watching for so many months, getting a chance to come in there, and I haven't left since.
Nice.
Haven't left
nice.
since.
What changes, man? Been a lot that has happened since. That's 30 years, bro.
30 years. 30 years.
3 decades of all of this stuff here. Cool. What's your strongest? I know this is a pretty open-ended question. A lot could said, but your strongest takeaways. You know, you're looking back. What's the strongest takeaways?
Staying consistent. Life is going to throw things at you, and it's life. There's no perfect life. There's just life. You know, from Tombstone.
Yeah.
But you have to stay consistent. Whether you practice 10 minutes or 30 minutes or 5, do it 3-4 days a week, and just stay with it. I mean, there's one thing that no one can ever take away from you is the accomplishments you have within the martial arts. You take it wherever you go.
That's right.
Okay, it never leaves you, and you always will have it, no matter what. Whether you've gotten in a car accident, injuries, whatever, or missing the arm or leg, this never stops.
Mm-hmm.
This never stops. You can always train somewhere. So my best takeaway is stay consistent in whatever way is possible in your life. Whatever way is possible, stay to it.
Yeah.
The one thing you always have is you.
Yeah, and it's all possible, but you got to push it. So good positive takeaways. What about some challenges? What's been some of the? Because there's ups and downs, yin and yang, right? So what's been some of the challenges?
And actually I came to Abilene Kajukembo. I was going through a divorce at the time, and the person who I came and I talked to and learned from, wanted to become one of the best friends in the world I've ever had in my life, trained me and gave me a home, even at the time when I didn't have means to pay him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He said, I don't know what you're going to do, better put on the gi and get in the class. And that just, to me, that was the most amazing thing in the world, because at the time, we didn't know each other that well.
Right.
But you saw something in me
mm-hmm.
and gave me an opportunity to be more, and gave me a place where I could let all that out. Yeah. And you always said, leave whatever you got, problems and issues, at the door, come in here and leave it on the floor. Work it out. That stuff is gonna be there when you get out of there, but come in here and get that clarity of mind, clarity of spirit, which I think Aaron Serta earlier in another podcast said the same thing, and go outside and you're better equipped to handle those things.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that it makes you whole when you do something and you begin to try to understand your journey through it. Mm-hmm. You develop a love and a strength that is internal and integral, and that it lasts forever within you.
You find that passion for it, and then maybe a deeper purpose, all the way into the entire why.
Absolutely.
The deep why and reason, and that's awesome, man. I mean, I'm glad I was able to help you at that time, and not knowing what would happen 30 years later.
Right.
Not a clue. I didn't know if I'd see you the next day.
True.
Much less 30 years later. And again, I commend you, because you comes around, goes around, karma, right? And you were just as strong as a contributing factor to my success today, to the growth of my students. Even when you're not here, it's always the connection. And martial arts has a lot of good synergy, good positive magic, if you will,
yes.
that we do and follow and lead and basically live with, man.
It's that unspoken thing. It comes through experience. When you're experiencing it, whatever aspect that is, when you're in the martial arts, they say a brotherhood. I don't want to leave out the ladies, the sisterhood.
Yeah.
It's family, but it goes beyond that. It transcends that in many different ways that you can only get from being in it. Mm-hmm. Being in it and experiencing it. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard how, martial arts school, especially with their traditional uniforms or whatever, you say a class, it could be a class of 20 people, right? And these 20 people come in, and they're wearing the same uniform, mm-hmm. right? They all look the same, but they're all different people, and you don't know. You don't know who's rich, who's poor,
right.
Who's, the top of their life, and who's having, major failures and depression and whatever else, right? Different ages, levels, race, creed, color, beliefs, all different.
Yep.
But for that hour, we're kind of all the same.
We're all the same. We are all one.
We're training together.
Yes.
We're kicking and punching and throwing each other around, and we're going through torture together. Yeah. We laugh, and we go through belt tests and events, and Yeah, that's kind of the beauty. So it takes away a lot of the prejudgment,
Absolutely.
know, right? So
You actually
how do you
strip
really
people
judge
down.
when you don't know,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, and that's exactly right. You actually strip people down. The world puts these preconceived notions on everything when it comes to people, when you think they're from here, from there, or did this or did that or whatever. But when you come into a dojo or school and you train and sweat, you're just you're just the same people doing the same things, and everything else gets stripped away. So it actually lets you see the person for who they really are at their core.
Right. Get to know them that way first, right?
And then everything else, you're like, everybody has things in their lives, and you find out why they do certain things a certain way, or why. But you're all together on one, and it gives you an even playing ground to understand each other.
Yeah.
To understand each other and get a common ground on just about anything, because you're free to talk. You know there isn't that barrier we think there is. It really isn't there.
Right.
We've adopted it from the world.
Yeah.
And we leave it. And we leave it at that time when you're in the school.
Yeah, that's right. And find the same goal with the end in mind, right?
Yes.
Connect and train. I know in your days, and it might have even kind of came from you early on, the whole. It sounds weird to say today, but shut up and train.
Oh yeah.
I might get in trouble if I go and tell the 6-year-old,
True.
when they come into class to shut up and train. But we said that, and at times, and the point was the concept, the philosophy of that, in the sense of nothing else matters right now, just train, But this, but that, but however, and then what, just train,
yeah,
right?
Just train.
The rest kind of works out,
I said in a video I did on YouTube is that I'm not saying that your opinions and what you want to be heard and your words don't need to come out. Just not right now. Right now, close down your mind.
Yeah.
Calm your soul and just train. Just train.
Yeah. I'll tell my fighters, that's what I believe shadow fighting is, active meditation.
Absolutely.
What are you doing right now? You're focusing. You're getting in the flow. You're getting in the zone. You're fighting yourself. You're living in the now. That's present tense. But you got to find times in that training where it's active meditation.
And that's the goal.
Heck, I had to do it in horse stances because McDaniel or Peralta would keep me in a horse stance for 45 minutes. How are you going to stay there? Right?
45 minutes to an hour. Absolutely.
Time. I think you made me a sign that I
did.
put on the wall.
One of my students did.
Oh,
yep.
It was in Chinese characters, and it said "shut up and train" because I couldn't literally probably put that. It would have been great for business or whatever, but I knew what it meant, and I would explain it and point to that sign at times. Yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah. Good, man. Well, what are some of the other experiences through this journey as you're continuing on your journey of martial arts? If it's just a good, I use the word takeaway or a good story or
actually,
things like that.
Through all this training, through the military and being able to go so many places, I had to train, got a chance to meet some of these people may know Eamon Bostepi, who's a high-ranking Wing Chun instructor. I met him in Northern California and got a chance to go to a couple seminars and watch him train and where he came from as far as coming from nothing. He came from the gutter. He came from nothing and where he rose to. He was actually the Wing Chun instructor that challenged William Chung to a fight, and they wound up having a little fight and all that good stuff to prove that, talking about whose system worked or whatever. Those are some people. Dave Terrell, NorCal Fighting Alliance. I got a chance to go train there. I trained with his original instructor, Cesar Gracie. I got a chance to go and train there, and before the Shield Brothers and all that good stuff, they were there. But training with some of those people, going around and finding out that as much as people think systems, and they are relatively different, they all come with the same thing: building better people. In some way, shape, form, or fashion. There are people coming with problems and issues. And jiu-jitsu and Krav Maga and any other karate-based martial art, kung fu, is about that.
Right.
Is about that.
Better versions of themselves, better people.
And it just changes in different aspects. People say, oh, this is better, that's better. It's the individual. But you have to look and see what instructor you got in front of you also. Yeah. That's the one thing I'll say that you can take away. Watch the instructor more than you watch anything else. Then if you can, they have kids class, watch the kids and see how they're learning and how they gravitate toward the instructor.
Truth, yeah.
You will find some truth in that.
There's not a such thing as a bad martial arts style.
Right.
Some might be limited or different.
True.
It's like, food that has its purpose, but there is unfortunately a such thing as a bad martial arts instructor. But the style, the style doesn't make the person even as much as the person makes the style more so there, right? I remember when you left here, and was it California you went to first? Or you
went to Turkey. Went to Turkey.
You taught a school. You taught classes in Turkey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have a plaque you gave me there.
Absolutely. First class.
That's awesome, man. All over, man, spreading that word. And you've continued and, grown in a lot of ways. What was really cool that I really admire, and this is the respect and loyalty of a good martial arts school, is when you first left, you're in another country, another state, and Claude would call me and ask if it was okay if he went and trained somewhere,
Absolutely.
And after a couple of times I said, bro, you don't have to ask me, you go train wherever you want. And even as admiring, I got a phone call at that time. I didn't really know Grand Master Joe Davis. I knew the name.
Right.
And this is a Kajukembo martial arts legend, old school, one of the pioneers, a historian of the art. And he called me up and wanted to know if it was okay to teach you. And here I am, I don't know, I was probably 4th degree black belt or something at the time. We're like, you don't have to ask me, you're Grandmaster, you do what you want to do. But that's mutual respect, and that's pretty awesome that there's still some of that out there.
Yeah, there's still some of that, yeah.
In the world and in martial arts of what it should be, of course, right?
Open respect.
Yeah.
Honor
So what's
respect.
what's the future goals? What are you doing? What's happening next? Been all over.
I'm still training in jiu-jitsu right now. It's not so much how good I am at jiu-jitsu anymore. It's how good a jiu-jitsu is for me now.
Yeah.
That's more important. It's
pretty hard on your body, right?
I've got a lot of injuries now.
Same here.
And that's the one, here, let me hit this too. That's the one good thing about today's training. We trained hard. We trained very, very hard. But today we train smarter. Not any less hard.
Yeah.
It's just smarter, using the tools that you have based on the times. Old school training was old school training. And we were some bad guys. We could get it on if we needed to get it on. But today's training, it's so much smarter where you can avoid a lot of the injuries that we currently have.
Yep.
But I'm sorry, go back. What did you ask me?
Future, what do you got going on?
Future.
Any plans?
So with me right now, I plan on working, still work for the government right now after retiring from the military. About 5-6 more years, and I'm going to retire and teach.
All right, bro. Let's do it. Let's do it.
The plan is moving back to Texas.
Well, I'm in Texas.
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that you're here.
Yeah.
So that is the plan. No other deviation from that. 6 years is the most, and that's what I'm going to be doing.
I've seen you stick to a lot of your goals and your timelines and stuff, so that's good. Well, you're going to do it, bro.
Absolutely.
Well, man, anything else to say to the audience?
No matter what you do in life, do it with passion. Stay focused. Life is going to throw immeasurable obstacles in your ways at times, but if you have a goal, no matter what, stick to it in some way. It doesn't matter if you get off track. As long as you keep the passion for it, as long as you make a step, you can make 2 steps back and 1 step forward, but you're still moving forward. And sometimes you may feel like you're in the same place, but you're constantly keep pushing back on it. Keep moving towards your goals. I mean, that's the most important thing. Let nothing defeat you.
Yeah,
nothing.
You're right. Experience, knowledge.
This man is a testament. Every time I came back, I'm sorry, I can't let you off the hook without singing your praise here. The beautiful thing, and one of the things that kept me training all those years, is every time I came back home, and this was always my second home, I watched the same techniques that I know being taught, the same but different. They were increased, not even increased, they were made better in some way. Little tiny techniques, little changes in a step here, a shift here, body mechanics. You always made the same technique I had learned for the last 20, 30 years better. And you kept doing that. So it kept me on my search and on my journey to constantly keep improving. I was never one, I don't care if I'm second fiddle to somebody as long as it's you. But you always made it new and exciting, the same technique. And I was always in awe of that coming back, how you did that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. I think it's just the repetition of those drills. And then as I evolved and improved, I wanted to evolve the drill. You're right, small things that made big differences eventually.
Yeah.
I tell my students, I've heard before about doing the same thing. Like, dude, you're never doing the same thing. you're doing the same thing differently.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
So come on, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But having that eye and the wisdom and to be able to reinvent, that's it. Constantly reinventing yourself in whatever small increments.
Yeah.
You see people, you've seen schools and people fail all the time.
Yeah.
You didn't.
Right. There are a lot. Yeah. Got to be a chef, man. You know, you add some garlic, a little butter, keep adding some ingredients.
Yeah, you said garlic and butter.
Like a masterpiece.
Now I'm hungry.
Go eat. All right, brother. I love you. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. And guys, stay tuned with the podcast, the YouTube channel, James Cox Martial Arts, and we'll see you next time.
Tune in.